Alright guys, welcome to my latest e-bike buying guide for late 2023, early 2024. This is going to be a comprehensive buying guide, because we're covering all of the meaningful, major, reasonable price tags. Beginning with budget, $1,000. Yes, I know there's cheaper than $1,000 e-bikes, but most of those are, in my opinion, not worth it. Because I discovered, this is true with me as well as all my friends, that once you get an electric bike, the power, it's very addicting and you immediately want to upgrade, get more speed, more features. So in my opinion, buying something that's ultra cheap, less than $1,000, that's bare bones, it might sound like a good investment initially, but long term, I think you're better off just getting something a little bit higher quality. By the way, Andre just got Shinko 241 tires on his bike. So now we're matching. Oh, you can't see. I have fenders. There we go. If you have a bike with 20 by 4 inch wide fat tires, these are the best in my opinion. Although, as we can both attest to it, it does significantly decrease your range. All right, but getting right into this, I have to begin with a disclaimer. Everybody's preferences, what they need and want in a bike is going to be different. But hopefully you can use this video as at least a benchmark so you can see if the bike you're looking at is a good value compared against the bikes that I'm showing off in this video. Okay, hopefully Andre can catch up with us. His maximum speed is only about 23 miles per hour.
What?
Your max speed, 23 miles per hour?
23.9, yeah.
So the first bike on this list is a newcomer, although it's from a very successful, reputable brand. The brand is Raev, and it's their new budget offering. You guys might not be familiar with this. It's called the, what's it called? The Polola?
At least for people who hear me braking coming up to a fucking intersection.
Yeah, everybody knows you're coming. Yeah, Portola from Raev. It's $1,000. And I think these are the minimum specifications you need because the motor is 750 watts. The battery is 48 volt. It's not big, it's only 10 amp hours. They do have a slightly more expensive version that gives you a slightly larger battery. And that gives you a maximum speed of 28 miles per hour. So a full class 3 e-bike. Again, I wouldn't go any less than this, but I recently reviewed another very comparable full suspension folding bike. It's at that same roughly $1,000 price tag, and it's the Jason X Hunter. Another really solid option for the $1,000-ish price point. But the reason I think the offering from Raev is better, oh my gosh, Andre, that is so loud. But the reason I think you should go with the Raev offering, even though it doesn't have rear suspension, is because the rest of the bike is very high quality and it has things you want, like hydraulic disc brakes. To me, that's a must-have feature on bikes. They perform way better than mechanical and they're just safer to use. So every bike I mentioned on this list has hydraulic disc brakes, including this cheaper offering at the $1,000 price range. You want to try to go past?
I would say, want to curve it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't mean sidewalk. I meant this. Okay, maybe not. Okay, sidewalk it is. We're only doing this because you don't have a bike lane. Not my fault. Now for the next bike, I'm gonna move all the way up to nearly $2,000. This is just shy of the $2,000 price tag. And we're gonna begin with the Kepler. Very popular bike. This is from Ariel Rider. The electronic components here are a significant upgrade over the previous bike because we're moving from a rather wimpy 48 volt battery to a 52 volt system with a much larger capacity of 20 amp hours. Hey, go right! And the motor's rated for 1,000 watts, which is okay, but once you get used to it, you're definitely gonna want more power. And that's why I think a better option for technically $2,000 is the wired freedom. Now I say technically because the shipping is like $250, so realistically we're talking like $2,200 price range. Don't kill me. But for just $300 more than the Kepler, I know they look similar, but the first big difference is the rear suspension. The wired freedom has it, the Kepler doesn't. Hi Andre, we're gonna... I think the best course of action here is to just do what we're doing until we see Walmart. Yeah, it's on the other side.
Yeah, we have to cross.
Yeah, so we're gonna go to there, and then we gotta go cross over.
Going 24 miles an hour. This should be interesting.
Well, that's why I said we could probably just go through the parking lots. Okay, we're gonna do some urban free riding because we're on the side of a highway. Andre's top speed is 23 miles an hour, so that's off limits. So we're just gonna cut through the parking lots. But the big difference between the Kepler and the Wired Freedom is the performance and the electrical system. The battery is still 20 amp hours, but the voltage is significantly higher, something you don't see too often. It's 60 volts. And again, total watt hour capacity, the energy potential of the battery is volts times amp hours. So the capacity, even though they're both 20 amp hours, is significantly higher with the Wired Freedom. And same goes with the performance. A 60 volt system, basically the higher the voltage, the more peppy and the faster top speed you have. And what are we doing? Ugh. So I reviewed the Wired Freedom. Andre saw it. What was your thoughts on it?
Too fucking big.
Yeah, that was the one thing. It's great on paper, a ton of power, but same thing with the Kepler. The wheels, they're just like huge.
For me, it's the equivalent of trying to climb into a monster truck.
Yeah, it had a monster truck feel to it. All right, well, let's risk our lives a little bit here.
Yeah.
So for that reason, the Wired Freedom certainly isn't for everybody. And again, no dedicated bike lane, no sidewalk. If you're not in a car, you're treated like animals in New Jersey. But we are going to be crossing over soon, so that should be fascinating. Oh, okay, I think this is it. This is it, Andre!
Again, we're on 22.
Using my hand as blinker.
We're good.
Yeah, right up there. Should we try to cross it all in one go?
No, we are in the entrance, right?
Do you want to try to cross it all in one go, or do what we just did?
We might not have the opportunity to cross it all in one go. We're merged.
Yeah. As soon as we get one lane open, let's go.
Yeah, if we can get more clear, it's fine.
This is nuts. Okay, back to the shoulder. Not that this is much better. Hopefully Andre survived. He doesn't have the speed that I have. Another reason why I'm a huge fan of speed. Sometimes it's just a safety thing. Did he make it? Oh no. There he is. So in terms of value, I think the Wired Freedom is the king of the pack right now. But due to the size, it's just not for everybody. Another great alternative here is the X-Class. This bike has been around for quite a while. It's very popular, and I think that speaks volumes. It's 52 volts, 20 amp hours, same electricals as the Kepler, but it's in a smaller moped package. And I think Wired, the company, should do a similar thing with the Freedom. Release a smaller moped version with the same electronics as the Freedom model, and I think that would sell extremely well. My friend actually has the X-Class. I've ridden it. I've ridden with him. And it's a fantastic bike. But the price tag of normally $2,400, but when I was researching this video, I saw that there's a sale and it's less than $2,000 right now, which is a pretty good steal in my opinion, even though it's not as powerful as the Wired Freedom. Another great alternative to the X-Class that's a little bit newer, a bit more of a sleek design in my opinion, is the Raev 1. 52 volts, 20 amp hours, you guys know the drill by now. But nominal, it's only 750 watts. I think they did that for legal reasons. That's supposed to be the maximum limit, at least here in the United States. But apparently that bike has a maximum speed of like 35 miles an hour, which is insanely fast. And based off of the controller, it's a 52 volt, 28 amp controller. So if you multiply those two numbers together, that's a theoretical maximum wattage of like 1500 watts. Again, not as powerful as the Wired Freedom. That's like over 2000 watts at a much higher voltage, but it's a good bike. I like how it's pretty easy to add a second battery to that frame. It's very conducive to upgrades. It has fenders, it kind of checks off all the boxes, of course, good hydraulic disc brakes. And the rear suspension is better than the X-Class, both in terms of the geometry and the shock that they use. They use a pretty solid air shock with the Raev 1. And then finally, for $2,500, I'm gonna recommend the Raev Bullet GTX. Now, Andre, he's on the Raev Bullet GT. I've reviewed the bike. I think it's very solid. Go check out that video if you guys are interested. The only thing that wasn't great about that bike is that it's only 48 volts. But the new GTX model is 52 volts, much better. It makes the whole system more responsive, a slightly higher top speed. Aside from the power, the GTX model gives you much better tires. I'm shocked that more companies don't give you good tires straight out of the box. But the GTX comes with tires that are a lot thicker, puncture-proof, and it saves you the time, money, and hassle having to change it yourself. Yeah, so this is the GT model. It's a dual battery setup, which has an amp hour capacity of 28 amps. So the GTX is 52 volts, 28 amp hours. Very nice capacity. And the last major upgrade is the shock. The GTX has a very similar shock to the Raev 1. It's a much improved air shock that costs around $100 in and of itself. And the Bullet is just a fantastic looking bike. The seat is also very comfortable, and the GTX just improves upon it. Slightly more power and higher quality components. Now, if you want anything above this in terms of power level, honestly, I think you're better off just building your own bike. There's tons of kits you can buy on Amazon, Alibaba. Of course, this is what I did to this bike. I upgraded the controller to the Phase Runner from Grin Technologies. I'll leave them linked down below. It's an expensive controller, but it goes up to 45 amps and it can accept voltages up to, and I think even beyond, 72 volts. So if you want something more powerful than Wired Freedom, I would recommend just buying a bike that you like. I would recommend full suspension, fat tire if you can, and then buying a kit on Amazon and doing it yourself. Now stay tuned because I am planning on doing a new upgrade series to this bike. Something I've never done before. I'm gonna change out the motor to something significantly more beefy. And we're gonna see how much of an impact the motor has on performance. I know it sounds like it might be a lot, and I'm sure it is gonna be a lot, but with electrical systems, the battery, the controller have just as meaningful as an impact to the total performance as the motor itself. But we're gonna put that to the test with a new motor, so stay tuned for that. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.